Welcome to the Coffee House, where we discuss board games, miniatures, and painting them, not necessarily in that order. If any of those things appeal to you and you haven't already, please consider hitting that subscription down below, turning on notifications, and giving this video a like. Seriously helps me out. It helps the channel grow, especially with YouTube's new algorithm. It is really hard to reach anybody at this stage in this section of YouTube. Now, with that out of the way, let's jump on in. Alright, painters, here we are. We are at the final sprint of Season 1 of Death May Die. So I saved the investigators for last for a couple of reasons. The first being that I just find the investigators the least interesting things to paint in the box. Other than that, I plan on just dropping these videos in rapid succession. That way you can just breeze on through them. They're really easy to paint. There's nothing fancy here. A couple things I want to touch on though. First being, you're not going to be doing anything that you haven't seen. All right, we're going to be doing a little bit of OSL, and we're going to be doing a little bit of free-handing. Both of these steps on these models are totally optional. You don't have to do them. The minis are still going to look great whether you do them or not. I just think it elevates the minis to the next level and just makes them pop just that much more on the table. You don't have to do it, though. Totally cool. The other thing that I want to touch on is eyes. So in the majority or all of the monster painting videos, I have done the eyes, and they're easy to do and they look good. For whatever reason, monster eyes are always sculpted to be easier to paint versus human eyes on CMON's models in particular. So having said that, I don't paint the eyes on these models. You don't need to paint the eyes on these models. Well-painted eyes, you have to look for to see. Bad painted eyes will ruin an entire model. The risk-reward factor is not worth it for a board game under most circumstances, in my opinion. So unless you are super, super confident with your brush control, leave out the eyes. Nobody's going to notice, nobody's going to care, and it's really not worth making your model look cross-eyed and ridiculous, because 100% that will stick out versus a well-painted set of eyes. Now that I've gotten all that out of the way, let's go ahead and crank through these models, and I'll see you on the other side. Alright, so we are going to start off with Ian, primed 100% coverage in gray, and we're going to do our handy dandy flesh recipe of peachy flesh and crusader skin. You're going to want to go 2 parts peachy, 1 part crusader. Do his hand, singular, and his face. Make sure you get those ears. And while we're doing that, guys, why don't we just go ahead and give Ian a hand for his service. I'm sorry. We're going to use Camo Cloak for the majority of this model. We're going to hit his pants down to the knee where those beautiful socks kick in. I'm going to do his coat, just leaving his utility belt. Now for me, this particular color dried a lot more glossy than I would have liked. If any of your speed paints dry glossy, and some of them will and do, don't sweat it. I don't show it in my videos, but you are going to want to hit all of these with a rattle can matte varnish, and that will destroy any of that glossiness in the best way possible. I use Krylon matte varnish. It's a rattle can. It's great. Use it. It's beautiful. Buy some. They're cheap. The only thing I would say is you have to absolutely shake the ever-loving piss out of them. If you think you have shaken them enough, shake them more. Other than that, you know, spray outside in a well-ventilated area. In the summer months, if you're in a humid area, you're going to have a really hard time with the rattle can varnish. It will, do what's known as frosting. So pay attention to your humidity and your temperature while you're spraying. But yeah, Krylon matte varnish, rattle can, beautiful stuff. Leave those metals as they are. And that insignia, his rank. Here we're going to take algae green. And we're going to go ahead and hit those lovely socks. We're going to take sand golem and we're going to hit that belt and those little satchels. From here we're going to take hardened leather. Let's go ahead and take care of his shoesies. And runic gray for the hair. I really like this color. And from here, we're just going to throw some enchanted steel on his weapon. Make sure you get that handle, the grip. And now we're going to start doing those metals. So we're going to go in there with some of that bright red, that pure red. We're just going to stripe these guys. So I'm covering them all in the red now, and then I'm going to go through with that demonic yellow, and I'm going to add a stripe. And then I decided I wanted some blue in there as well, so I go in there and I stripe with some blue as well. If you want to just paint these all one color, you're more than welcome to. If you only want to paint in two colors, you're more than welcome to. This is your model, you can paint it however you want. There's that crystal blue I go in there with. And no, I did not Google any metals, I just threw some colors together that I liked. I'm going with some zealot yellow, we're going to hit his rank. Wick away any excess pooling. We're going to tip those metals with greedy gold. And voila! Ian is done. You're going to black the base, of course. Now we're going to jump into Miss Lizzie Borden. She took an axe. Our normal flesh combination, coming in hot. So I made the mistake of letting my paint sit just a little bit too long on the palette, and it was beginning to gunk up a little bit. I don't recommend you do this. hands, face, arms, all that good stuff. If your paint does start to thicken up, gunken up, you can add just a little bit of water or speed paint medium. It will take care of that problem. Moving on to bright red, we're going to start tackling her dress, which makes up the bulk of her model. Just going to continue painting that red. We're going to leave that midsection open. She's going to have like a white sash or belt going across her midsection there. We're also going to leave the collar and the sleeve cuffs. From here, we're going to jump into some hardened leather, and we're just going to go ahead and take care of that axe handle, like so. Make sure you get the little nubbin on the top here. Very important. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do her hair in grim black. I apologize for not showing the bottle on screen, but it is speed paint, grim black. I'm going to go ahead and hit her shoes with that as well. Now we're going to come in with some matte white for this sash going across here, belt, whatever you want to call it. We're going to hit that with the matte white. We're going to hit that collar with the matte white. And we're going to hit those sleeve cuffs with the matte white. As you can see, I don't have the steadiest hands in the world. Part of painting is knowing kind of how your hands are going to behave, whether they're going to tremble and shake, or they're going to be steady, or how they're going to do any of those things. I've gotten pretty used to the way my hands work. For the most part, I can adapt and I can paint to how my hands are behaving. And the more you paint, you'll be able to do that with yourself as well. You just learn. And get that collar. Oh yeah, careful, careful, careful. And now here's the optional step. You know, if you look at the artwork, her dress is covered in, I don't know, flowers, I guess, or little sunbursts. So I had the genius idea that I would go ahead and freehand sketch this out as well. This is entirely optional and also insanely time consuming. This dress, doing this probably took me a good 45 minutes or so. You don't have to do it, but basically all it did was I dabbed a dot in the middle, and then I just kind of pulled little petals or arrays or, you know, whatever you want to call them, towards or away from the dots. And I just kind of repeated this process over and over again with no real rhyme or reason, of how I was spacing it out or organizing it or anything of that nature, but I just kind of dove in and went for it. If you want to dive in and go for it as well, you are more than welcome to. It does make the model really stand out and pop a lot more. But again, it's incredibly time consuming and it's a little tricky. You want to go as light as you possibly can when you're making those lines. When you're pulling out those petals or those rays, you barely want to touch the model. But if you're patient and you work carefully, it'll look something like that, which I'm happy with. It's not perfect. It's not totally even. Whatever. It looks good. We're going to come in with some polished silver on that axe. We got that matte black. We're going to go ahead, just like we did with Sister Beth, if you watched that video, just ever so carefully with just paint on the tip of the brush, barely more than, a dry brush, I would say. You're just going to lightly drag the tip of that brush across these raised surfaces here, just kind of like your edge highlighting. No pressure at all. Let the paint do the work. Let the brush do the work. If you get some, in the eye area, that's okay, because we're going to throw some paint there anyway. So I went ahead and edged the tip of this axe with white, just to make it look a little bit sharper. Got that cutting edge. We're going to take a little bit of gold, and we're just going to touch these buckles on her shoes with that gold. Again, same thing, just a little bit of paint. Basically just edge highlighting along the surface. You're not using any pressure, just using the paint to do the work. We can come with marine mist, and we're just going to dab in those glasses. Then we come with matte black to blacken the base, and we'll call her done. If you paint it along, followed along, your models are going to end up looking something like these. Alright guys, that is going to do it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much if you're painting along. If you are painting along and you're having fun and you've learned some things, even if you've just learned to enjoy painting, consider checking out my Patreon, which has a link down below, for about the price of a cup of coffee every single month. You can seriously help me out, keep the lights on, keep these videos cranking out, and I genuinely appreciate every single one of you. Shout out to all of my top tier patrons, Dan, Steven, Tyler, JB. I love you guys so much. Without you, I wouldn't even be able to begin to do this, so thank you so much for all of your support. Genuinely appreciate it. Other than that, guys, again, if you could leave a like, if you could leave a comment, any engagement, any sharing, any little bit that you can do without spending $1 helps me tremendously, and I greatly appreciate it. Again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for painting along. Tell me how your painting process is going. If you are painting, how far you've gotten. If you're happy with these results, if you're happy with my results, I'd love to know. Every little bit of feedback helps me out. Keep painting, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.